What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Low-Key Legend. How the fuck y'all doing today? I'm doing alright. Today I got a brand new video here for you guys. And today's video, we are jumping on board with a brand new episode of Stoner Tips for you guys. Today's episode is gonna be 107 of the Stoner Tips series. So today, what we are gonna be talking about today is a very interesting topic, very controversial for a lot of different people, and the topic is zeroing a hit. So with that being said, if you guys do enjoy this episode of Stoner Tips 107, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. And with that being said, let's dive right on into this video. So the subject of zeroing a hit. Alright, there is a couple different things that I could hit on in this specific topic. Mainly, I'm going to be going for personal opinion. Alright, so there's a lot of, medical shit behind zeroing a hit. I don't know if the medical is the word I should be using, but there's a lot of, research done on zeroing a hit, and in the end I feel like it is not the healthiest way to hit weed. I've talked to a lot of different stoners about this specific topic as well back in the day when I would be smoking a bowl or a bong, and I would take the hit in and zero it. And what zeroing is, if you guys don't know, it's basically where you hold the hit in for the longest you can, and you let zero smoke out as you exhale. So you take whatever hit you're hitting, let the smoke sit in your lungs for, 10, 15 seconds, and then blow out, and no smoke at all will come out of your lungs. So all the smoke is pretty much digest in your lungs, sits in your lungs pretty much. So that is I'm not gonna tell you guys right now that it's false information, that, the shit that I'm gonna be saying, but in my personal experience, I would do it, but sometimes for different individuals, it will affect you differently, okay? Some people, if they hold a hit in for a very long time, they'll start to get lightheaded. Being lightheaded while you're smoking really is not a preferable method of getting high. You could get very dizzy. Some people pass out. It's not gonna be the most beneficial way to get high. But if you can take nice little small hits and zero them, I really don't see a problem with that. But I've also, like I said, I've talked to stoners about this, and they told me back in the day in high school that you can only hold in a breath of weed for the maximum of 6 seconds. It's either 3 or 6 seconds. I'm not sure what the case is. I've took that into consideration a lot, but in the end, I will hold it in for as long as I possibly can. Usually, probably a little more than 6 seconds. Maybe I would say no more than 10 seconds, but that is not a full zero. All right, if you're zeroing hits, it can be beneficial for the area that you're smoking. All right, if you're smoking in your room and you don't want to have no smell, zeroing a hit can be very beneficial if you pack a very small amount in a bong, rip it through the bong, clear the entire bowl straight through the bong, and then rip it, pull the slider, take the rip, and zero it. You are not going to have little to no weed smoke ever come out unless you can't fully zero it. And that's going to be the easiest way to smoke in your room, actually. I covered that in a previous episode of Stoner Tips. That is the most beneficial way to smoke in your room, but zeroing a hit, I'm not sure if it's the healthiest way to do it. I couldn't tell you all the side effects of it, because I'm gonna be honest, I never really researched it too much. I'm sure if you asked full experts on it, they'll, take you a little more in depth, but I'm not gonna believe everything I read online unless an actual person or a doctor can tell me that. I'm sure a doctor would tell you something like that, but in the end, if you don't take a fat rip out of a bong and try to zero it, it's not gonna affect you as much as it would taking a nice small rip and zeroing it. All right, in the end, you have to know your body, because everybody's body works differently. Some people can't zero a hit, or if they exhale holding it in too long, they'll get dizzy or possibly pass out. That is not going to be a method you are ever going to want to do ever then. But for some other people, if you hold a hit in for a good amount of time and you blow out, that little tiny rip can turn into a fat rip, because as you exhale, it's like, damn, all that weed smoke is in my lungs, and now I'm waiting for the shit to kick in. I'm gonna be high as fuck. That's how it worked for me. Okay, every time I took a rip, I would attempt to zero it, and when I did exhale, very minuscule amount of smoke would blow out, and I'd be high as fuck. All right, and that is a good way to conserve weed, but at the same time, like I said, you got to take into consideration all the side effects that might happen while you're doing this. You might get dizzy. You might, start losing vision as you're holding the breath in, and you don't want that to happen while you're smoking weed. So that's why I feel like a lot of people that I've talked to about this specific topic have told me to just exhale after about 3 to 6 seconds. All right, that's the most amount that your lungs will be able to hold into, or the most amount of THC your lungs will be able to hold is up to 3 to 6 seconds. seconds, okay? So keep that into consideration as well. If this is some shit that you are very, you know, touchy about zeroing a hit, then this might not be for you, all right? But like I said, man, everybody's body works differently, so for some people it might work more beneficial for the next, but I'm not gonna go out and recommend you guys to zero a hit ever, okay? Just because the amount of people who've told me that this is not a good idea, but this is some shit you might want to experiment with, all right? It's not some shit that, like I said though, bro, you can't take a half fucking gram bong rip and expect to zero this hit. It's some shit you just gotta lightly roast the weed, maybe milk the bong very, very lightly, and then pull it and then zero it. Or take a nice little rip out of a bowl or a one hitter and try to zero that and then see how that works on you, rather than just jump straight into, you know, a super big rip and try to zero that. Because I think, in my personal opinion, the more weed smoke you have in your lungs that you're trying to zero is the you know, the less of a good effect it's gonna have on you, rather than if it was smaller. So for the smaller hits, I'm gonna say this out of my personal experience that it did work for my body efficiently. I definitely got a lot higher zeroing hits with smaller rips, but for bigger hits, I feel like even if you were to hold it in, it's not worth it. If you're taking a fat rip out of a bong or a bowl or some shit, just hold it in for a little bit and then blow it out, like 3 to 6 seconds. That's what a lot of people have told me, but I've never talked to a doctor or consulted any real professional on this experience. I've talked to, you know, experienced stoners, but that's about as professional as it's gonna come with this topic. And like I said, man, everybody's body's gonna work differently for it. So go on your own nature. If you guys feel the need to look at it online or something, you can do that. I'm sure a lot of people will tell you the same thing though, but they will forget about everybody's body works differently with every single type of drug. So keep that in mind as well. If you want to experiment with a little, you can do that, but just be safe with it in the end. Take a very, very small hit, so that way if you do know how it affects you afterwards, you can move on to, you know, maybe bigger things. Not super big though. If you're taking a super big rip in the end, you might as well just inhale and exhale, you know, within a couple seconds. Just because you're taking such a fat of a rip anyway, it's not even worth zeroing at all, because you already took, you know, 0.2, 0.3 in a fucking bong rip, and at that point it's not even worth fucking trying to zero it, because you're gonna get high as fuck either way it goes. So keep that in consideration. Other than that, bro, that is really all I want to talk about in the subject of zeroing hits. If you guys have any other personal suggestions, leave them in the comment section. If I may have missed anything, or if people have any questions, drop them in the comments as well. That's really all I got to talk about in this episode of Stoner Tips, though. This has been episode 107 of the Stoner Tips series. If you guys did enjoy, though, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. It does go a long way at the Stoner Tips series and all the videos that I do continue on to upload. Hopefully you guys did enjoy and learn something, though, and I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow for a brand new video. So y'all stay safe, stay savage, stay low-key. It's your boy, the Low-Key Legend. I'm out of here, guys. Adios.